NFL rules are made for off, and it's almost impossible to play anymore if you're a defensive player. That's wrong. Let me explain to you why that's wrong. Do you all remember the force out rule for receivers? I actually heard this brought up in a couple of telecasts. Force out rule, meaning, and this got disbanded after the 2008 season, if I'm correct. Might have been 2009. If a receiver catches the ball and is coming down, but is pushed out by a defender, if the judge can assume that the receiver would have landed inbounds, it is an eligible catch. Okay. Well, we don't have that anymore. That makes it harder for a receiver to catch the ball, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong. But that makes it harder, right? There was literally a catch that was valid 10, 15 years ago that guys have. Jerry Rice probably has 100 of those kind of catches. And that is no longer allowed. Less practice. Who is less practice hurt the most of all? It's hurt offensive lines. We've all heard this 1,000 times. There's not as much practice. Offensive line play is bad. Offensive lines are probably the worst they've ever been in the league. Oh, guess what? That means there's more sacks, more pressures, more hurried throws. Oh, guess who's suffering from that? The most dependent position on the field, a wide receiver. Oh, the second most dependent position on the field, a quarterback. Oh, so we're losing practice time and our offensive lines are struggling, so our offenses are struggling. But the NFL is made for defense. Also, the number one thing we have to take into account with the NFL the rules, the number one thing we have to take into account, I will be able to talk one day, with the NFL rules being for offense is what the hell is a catch? Nothing in this world we should be able to put 5-6 years of research, study, money, investments, time into something and still not even have kind of an idea of how we're going to fix it, solve it, or change it. And Calvin Johnson made that catch, 6-7 years ago, and we still don't know what the hell a catch is. We thought we did for the first 100 years of the National Football League. Well, turns out we don't. I know the National Football League hasn't been around for 100 years. Someone's going to try to throw that at me. There's no force-out catches. Offensive line play is struggling. And we still don't know what the hell a force-out is or what the hell a catch is. And then we're still saying the rules are made for the offense? No. Offense just has better players and more skilled players on it. Think about it. The most demanding position, and I'm going to get into this in a later show because I want to do a full segment on this. The offensive line, you've got to know each kind of play, know the scheme, you've got to know who you're blocking. It is the most mentally demanding position on the field, even more than a quarterback, especially if you're playing center. You have to know schemes, you have to know players, you have to know routines, tendencies, plus then you got to actually perform the job. You have receivers who, what's the old rule or the old expression? Oh, guys that play corner that can't catch, or receivers that can't catch play corner. Oh, Richard Sherman. And I understand Richard Sherman can catch really well for a corner, but he struggled catching consistently at Stanford when he was a receiver. Look at that. There's more skilled guys on offense than there was on defense. It has nothing to do with the rules being this, because if you watch any game, and as a fan, I always said, if you're a fan of a team, you'll see at least 10 to 12 holding calls a game and at least 4 to 5 pass interference calls a game. When in reality, it's probably like 1 or 2 holds and 1 or 2 pass interference, but as fans like to blow things up. But still, you're seeing guys on defense who are just holding. You see guys on defense committing pass interference, and even if they weren't called, why do you have to do something like that? Oh, because you can't actually keep up with the guys who are more skilled and talented than you are. If you're going against someone who's bigger, stronger, faster, you've got to make up for that in some way, shape, and or form. So the way you do that is you grab here, nudge here, you take these shortcuts and advantages that you have. You know? If you're sitting there racing someone and you want to sit there and you know this guy's faster than you, you're going to kind of go 1, 2, 3, and you're going to sneak and go. You're not going to wait. You're not going to go 1, 2, 3, go. If you're confident that you're just faster than the guy, you're going to say 1, 2, 3, go. Wait a second, then take off. Offensive players are simply more skilled, more talented, better at their craft than defensive players have been. Now, you get a team, and I'm going to throw this out because these are the two teams that I keep a very close eye on. You take a team like Denver, which has guys who could play on offense, and an Aqib Talib, a Chris Harris, a Von Miller, guys who are skilled at their position when they had DeMarcus Ware. these rules don't affect them the same way because they know how to play the game no matter what the rules are, no matter what the scheme is. Denver can line up the same way 10 plays in a row, and they could sit there and stop an offense 9 out of those 10 plays. You get the Cleveland Browns, they line up the same way on 10 plays in a row. They might give up 8 or 9 touchdowns. It's not a matter of rules. Rules don't hold you back. Despite how much we like to think that, oh, I got screwed over because this rule was in place, or because this coach didn't let me get here, or this guy, this teacher I had in 10th grade, he gave me that test, he graded harshly, so I got a D instead of a B, which means I wasn't able to go out and play on the football team, and that's how I wasn't able to get enough practice, and which is why I'm not in the NFL. Rules don't make or break you. Only if you're a very marginal player, and if you're a marginal player, no offense, you're not going anywhere fast anyway. There is this concept that, oh, the rules make it so hard to play defense. No, because great defensive players in this overturning era, Ray Lewis never had an issue with the rules. Ed Reed never had an issue with the rules. Troy Polamalu never had an issue with the rules. But tell me why these lesser talented guys, lesser skilled guys, oh, they have an issue with the rules. They were never good enough to begin with.